Om Shri Sai Ram. My humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Bhagwan, Sri Satya Sai Baba. A warm welcome to all the participants for the second session of Atirati in Apatti. Before we begin with this session, let us take a recap of the previous session. As we saw in the first session, various types of disasters are categorized as natural disaster and man-made disaster. We found that we don't have much control on natural disaster, but in case of man-made disaster, it can be avoided up to much greater extent. So today, here we have an eminent speaker, Sir R. Krishna Kumar, who will enlighten us with different safety precautions to be practiced while at home. And hence, the main topic today is fire safety and electrical safety at home. Now I request Brother Omkar to introduce and welcome our guest speaker, Sir R. Krishna Kumar, to begin the session. Jai Sai Ram.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Today, we are very fortunate to be with Sir Krishna Kumar, who always believes in working for a cause and not for applause. A compassionate person by heart and a must have been chosen by Bhagwan himself to be a part of his divine message. Sri R. Krishna Kumar, MA, CAIIB, CBSP. Sri Kumar Sir joined in Swami's organization in the year 1987, and from 2002, he is a disaster management trainer and actively being a part of DM team. Krishna Sir started his career as a sub-inspector in Railway Protection Force after clearing Railway Service Commission exam in 1977. He was trained at Railway Protection Force Training Academy, Lucknow Field for a year. He worked in the area of protection, crime, intelligence and many more in the Railway Department. Sir cleared RSC exam in 1982 and was appointed as traffic apprentice for 3 years. He successfully cleared 5 exams and underwent training in 14 posts at various locations. Then continued worked as a station master in different areas. Sir cleared Banking Service Recruitment Board exam and was appointed as a security officer in Andhra Bank in the year 1986. He has done security management, inspections, monitoring and renewal of gun license, fire safety, cash movement safety and security training of staff. Now, I hand over to Sir R. Krishna Kumar for the session. Jai Sai Ram.
Om Sri Sai Ram. Pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagavan. Loving Sai Ram to all the participants. And thank you very much for your introduction, sir. Now I will go straight to the session. I am very, very happy to meet you all through this online program. This is in fact, my first online training program. Hitherto I have been participating and giving training on disaster management for the past so many years, but it was all in person and used to be a different sort of training. This is the first training where I will be giving it on online. I hope I am able to raise up to your expectations. Now I will go into the subject of the day. Sai Ram, I hope the screen is visible to all. Sairam, anyone can you answer?
Yes.
Okay, sir, I'll go ahead. In case of any interruption, kindly just remind me, sir. Sairam. Today we will be covering and discussing domestic accidents, which we'll be facing day to day in our homes. We will not be covering industrial accidents and other accidents like road accidents. Now coming to the subject straight away, very common things which we encounter at home are slippery floors and steps which lead to the fall and other consequences. Electric short circuit, LPG fires. Today's contents are these three, and then when it happens, suppose electric short circuit leading to fire, then necessarily we should have some knowledge of firefighting, how to use fire extinguishers, which is available everywhere. You might have definitely come across fire extinguishers in petrol bunks, cinema theaters, railway stations, even in railway guard compartment, AC compartments and all. But if you see how many people will be having knowledge of it, it will be very, very less. I have personally come across instances where when I was in railways, in a control room and there is a fire extinguisher, but people there, none of them were able to use it. Similarly, once there was a fire in our Prashant Nilayam itself, in our generator room, even the generator operator was not, first of all, he was not having the presence of mind to know that there's a fire extinguisher. When I asked him fire extinguisher immediately in the night time, he couldn't understand that. Then I said, "Yarra dabba onda." Then immediately said, "Yes, sir." Then I could catch hold of that CO2 fire extinguisher and put down the fire. Like this, there are so many instances where we will be working in an office, working in a college, working in a lab where there will be a fire extinguisher, but we will not be having knowledge to how to use it. So that basic knowledge we will be covering today. To have a knowledge of fire extinguishers, first we have to have little knowledge of chemistry of fire, classification of fire, types of fire extinguishers, and how to use the fire extinguisher basically. If time permits, we will also cover some firefighting small techniques. First, coming to slippery floor and accidents. This is the most common home accident, which may sometimes lead to serious injuries, fracture, or even at times it can be fatal if we sustain an injury at the skull, or if there is a hip fracture for an old person, which may also ultimately lead to a lot of complications. This more often happens in marble and tiled floors. And particularly those of them which are, the steps which are outside our house, or the staircase which is located outside the house. Sometimes we have a staircase not going inside like a duplex house, but it will be outside. There the risk is more because there will be a thin layer of moss or slimy layer would have been formed because of the continuous raining or drizzling for 2-3 days, which may result in a slippery fall. This has happened many times for many people. We have to be guarded against it. So how to prevent such small things? Only thing is we have to avoid keeping leaky pots, bottles, container, etc. Sometimes our water cooler will be leaking, or from air cooler water may be dripping and coming. AC water may be coming inside. Normally a tubing is provided and it is let out outside, but sometimes it may also come inside. So when it is on the marble or a fine floor, we will not notice and it may slip and fall. So when suppose suddenly it develops a leakage, what best we can do? We can put a rug or a gunny bag or something like that which can absorb the water and which will also caution the people that there is a water there. And one more thing which will be very useful in toilets is you please always have a wiper with a long handle, which will every time after using toilet, if you just use the wiper for hardly 30 seconds or 1 minute, your toilet will be always dry. When it is dry, the problem of toilet when slipping will be very much reduced. Particularly wherever you are having elderly people at home, please do follow this, because once there is a fall, the problem and consequences will be very serious for elderly people because their stability will be very less. And similarly, one more thing to avoid this sort of accident is providing hand railing for old age people, particularly in the toilets. Even in Western toilets, people have difficulty in getting up. After getting up also, what happens? Indian toilet, it is still more because a person will be folding the leg and sitting and getting up. There will be a sort of arrest of blood flow. Blood flow will not be free when the thighs are folded for a long time. Particularly when a person is using a toilet, say for 5 minutes and all, when he is getting up, he will not have the same blood flow which is normally is having. As a net result, he may lose stability also. The brain may be sometimes deprived of blood. You will see a lot of time people also have heart attack and all in the toilet. One is they should not strain. People who are having heart problems, they should not strain themselves. They may strain, or they have to strain when they are getting up. Providing this hand railing near the toilet commode and near the door and all will be very, very useful for them. And another one is nowadays anti-skid tiles are coming, which can be provided in the bathroom. Mats are coming, which can be provided immediately while entering and outside the toilet. See, people will be stepping out, crossing the threshold and putting the step outside. When they are putting the step outside like that, what happens? They get a sort of slanting. Both the legs, there will be a gap. As a net result, if the body weight is coming onto the one leg, there it may also skid. There again, if you have an anti-skid mat, that will save the day for them. And nowadays, tapes are coming. Particularly, these tapes are very, very useful. Even we have provided it in Shivam also, Shivam Satsai Mandir in the steps. In the steps and staircase, if these tapes are stick, then it is definitely very helpful. Slippery floors being a small topic, I think we will go to the next topic. Next is electric short circuit. Electric short circuit is also a very, very common problem which is happening at homes. By definition, it's a circuit which allows the current to travel along an unintended path with no or very low electric impedance. This results in an excessive current flowing. The net result of short circuit is you get a shock. Either in the device is getting a shock or the person touching it will get a shock. So because of the excess current flow. And normally some signs will also be coming. Suppose a tube light is going to go. It is fatigued, it's aging. You will see some burning smell coming out of the choke or out of the other connecting part. And similarly, this may also happen in case of iron box. Our mixies also, when it is overheated, this smell will come. New equipment like mixie or something, new equipment will also give a bad smell. That is because the paint which is given inside on the motor, when you are using it in the initial days, it will melt and give a smell. If you carefully read the instructions given on a new mixie, they will say in case of smell, don't get panicky. That will be for the new mixies. But other equipments, this sort of either smell or heating or burn mark, sometimes you will see a burn mark near a plug, a 3-pin plug or 2-pin plug. If you are extensively using it for a long time, it may develop a black mark. That means there is a short circuiting taking place inside, sparking taking place inside. You may not see it outside, that's an indication that something is wrong there. Next thing, it may break down or it may catch fire. So sparking is also a very common thing. And one more thing, nowadays, a lot of places we are using air conditioners. I have not put it down in this PowerPoint. We tend to switch off the AC by our remote. And thereafter, we are leaving the main switch on continuously for hours together or even days together. I have personally come across fire accidents where it is having a circuit breaker where stabilizer is attached to the AC. When you switch it off in the remote, this stabilizer gets continuously heated. 1 day, 2 days, or sometimes 36 hours if you leave it like that. Because of the continuous heating, being an electrical gadget, it may short circuit and it may catch fire. And this is also applicable to where we are having inverters. Continuously stitching inverter, normally power failure will be there for a few hours, it will come back, so it will get charged and then it will get discharged. This cycle of charging, discharging will be going on. But Then there is a power supply. Suppose there is a monsoon rain, 2 days you don't get rain. If you are continuously going to use any electrical gadget which is not meant for continuous usage, that may lead to short circuit fire. And then what is the result? The result is the damage to the appliance. And another thing is, it is also electrocution. We may get a shock. Suppose the iron box is having a short circuit. When we are touching the metal body, we may get a shock. Similarly, the worst case is in respect of our water heaters in our bathrooms. If you are continuously going to use it, normally it is having a circuit where when it is heated beyond some point, it cuts off power supply, and then when we remove the hot water, again it is reheating. It may so happen during some function and all, continuously people will be using a hot water geyser, and it may result sometimes in a short circuit. And the earthing is very, very essential in those matters, because otherwise the shock will come to all the taps which is connected to the our heater. Even though the pipe may be a PVC pipe, because the water continuity is there, the electricity will traverse through the entire route, and when you open a tap, you may get a shock. And that is the worst place where we can get a shock, because there will be water in the bathroom. Bathroom will be wet, water will be flowing. So virtually, there will not be much of escape for us. So the result is, it may also lead to fire. So these are the common results which we encounter when there is a short circuit. And the common causes, some of the common causes are damaged insulation or cable. The outer sheath of the cable is damaged due to wear and tear, or to rat bite, or for some reason, or rupture, or due to aging. If you see the old wiring which is more than 20 years, 30-year-old, it will start developing cracks. Once it is developing a crack and two cables are side by side, it may ultimately develop a short circuit. So another reason is aging, because it is used for so many years. Aging and fatigue take place. Fatigue is nothing but result of aging. Suppose a cable which is meant to be used for 10 years, we are using it for 15 years, it will develop a fatigue. That is, it is working beyond its capacity. So it may also lead to short circuit. Voltage surge. Suppose frequently we get voltage surge. Suppose the power goes. When it is coming, you will see the lights are suddenly becoming brighter, because there is a surge in supply. That may also lead to short circuit. Overloading of socket with many devices. This is very, very common place, where we put an extender into one socket. From that extender, we join one laptop, one printer, and one charging cable for another device. This goes on. Suppose if it is only a 5 amps socket, if you load so many devices, definitely this socket, which is only meant for 5 amps, is going to get problem, because day in and day out, daily, when we use it, ultimately it may start overheating, and it may lead to short circuit. So overloading of socket has to be avoided. And also you have to see the matching of the socket, whether it's a 5 amps or 15 amps, or if it is a socket meant for the load of the device. Particularly the iron box and water heater and all requires a 15 amps socket, and we have to use similar cables which will be suitable for that. Overheating, continuous use of a same point also lead to overheating. And if you take our switchboards, if you have particularly those nowadays present MCBs and all, it is better organized, mini circuit breakers. But if you see the old houses which are having switches which are which will be big iron switches, which will be having fuses and all connected. If we keep on taking more and more connection in the house for various purposes, initially when the house was constructed, say 20 years back, they would have hardly had some 6-7 fans and 10-15 tube lights. Subsequently, we went on adding more things like air conditioners, heaters and all. That installation will not be in a position to take the load. Similarly, where there is a lighting DB, distribution board, if you are going to attach a main power consuming units like a air conditioner or a water heater, then a lighting DB will not be able to take it. There again, a mismatch happens and it leads to heating, and then the entire switchboard will catch fire. And the splice connection, see, one wire will be coming from that one wire, there will be positive and negative, and they will be connecting two more wires. Particularly during functions, they resort to this, and they will be simply putting insulation tape. This is also not a corrective one. And faulty appliance, suppose the appliance what we are using is having a fault, because of that also short circuit can happen. And prevention of short circuit. Basic thing what we have to follow at our homes is unplug the appliances when not in use, particularly mixies, grinders, iron boxes. Even I'll suggest even our other instruments, computers and all, which in the night time, overnight, we tend to leave them on charging. You please unplug the appliances once the use is over. And another way to prevent short circuits is install fuses and mini circuit breakers. The purpose of this fuses which is provided is, suppose 5 fuses are provided in a house for 5 different areas. It will be governing the power supply going into area which is under that fuse. Suppose there is a power surge, immediately this fuse will blow and the power supply will cut off, so that short circuit will be avoided. In case of mini circuit breakers also, it also functions in the same way, that it will trip immediately. You will see when there is something not working in your house, one side power supply is not there, immediately you go and check your MCB. Suppose 5 MCBs are there, one would have been tripped. Before again putting back the mini circuit breaker, you try to please find out what is the reason for that. Whether any more appliances were used or what may be the use. Because every time if you keep on operating the mini circuit breaker, putting it back again and again without examining the cause, the real cause of that MCB tripping will not be known. It may lead to accident. Similarly, nowadays magnetic thermal switches are coming. This will not trip the power supply. When there is excess power, it will regulate it. It will ensure that beyond certain level, power supply will not be passing through the magnetic thermal switches. That is the function of it. And you also have electric ELCBs, are the earthing circuit breakers, which is when provided in the house. Even suppose some small children are there, they are very naughty, very active. They try to go and insert something in the switch and all. Try to paste the switch and close and cover it, so that there will not be scope for it. There are switches which are, points which are plug points which are coming, which remains normally closed. Even if they insert, it will not normally go inside. You can provide such switches or just place it so that children will not touch it. And the function of this electric circuit breaker, ELCB, is earthing circuit breaker, is when this is provided, when there is somebody is getting a shock, that ELCB will trip, the shock will not be, it will go ahead to the absorbed by the device. And a very important thing is every house should have proper earthing. If the earthing is not provided, in spite of providing best of equipment, best of electrical wiring, if earthing is not there, the third point is not provided, positive, negative, and earthing. In case of any shock, the shock will be borne by the device or the person who is in contact with that. So, and the earthing also has to be refurbished after say 10 or 15 years. You would have seen they would have dug a pit and then left the earthing wire there. They would have put some rock salt inside and all, sand and all. That is to keep the earthing or grounding active. And you can also arrange to have the inspection and prompt repair of any items you may fall in disrepair. Instead of going on using an item which is giving a shock, trying to hold it with a rubber, this thing, or you may try to avoid the shock to you, but still you are using a device which is not in proper shape. It may lead to shock elsewhere. Even in the switchboard, it may happen. And wherever possible, you can use 3-pronged sockets. You will see sockets with 3 pins that you can use instead of 2-pin ones. In case of electrocution, suppose there is a shock, somebody contacted the power supply. What immediate action immediately? Disconnect power supply if it is nearby available. Suppose somebody is getting a shock. try to switch it off. The switch which is giving a shock. Suppose you see somebody is ironing and he is getting a shock, is shouting. Suppose you see something, a newspaper is there nearby, just hit the switch so that the plug point may come off the socket. Or if you find a scale or a plastic scale or some plastic plate, whichever is a plastic tray, not a metal tray, just hit the power plug so that the plug will come off the thing. If you cannot switch it off, then at least you can do that. Because sometimes the switch may be having a spark also. And then next is, immediately we have to separate the victim from the power source. And you cannot disconnect the power supply. That is what else we can use to separate, because we should, in the process of separating the victim from the power source, we should not get shocked. So never use a metal rod or metal pole or something like that. You can rather use a wooden pole or wooden item or something which is insulated. Suppose it is having a rubber handle, that you can use. Suppose there is hockey stick there, cricket stick there, some play bat is there. You can try to use any of this. And in some cases, a dry or towel or bedsheet, you can just throw around the body of the person and then pull him, so that when you are pulling, when through the bedsheet, it will not come. It is known that dry cloth will not that easily conduct power. It's a good insulator. It's not a conductor of your power supply. And then afterwards, you can render first aid and then call an ambulance. I think at this point of time, if you are having any doubts regarding whatever is covered so far, you can please unmute yourself and ask. Sairam, if nothing is there, then I'll go ahead with the next topic. Sairam, am I audible to you all?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt, sir?
Sairam,
Sir, regarding the freeze, no, it is continuously on. Stabilizers and all that are continuously on. Is there any problem there? Sometime with the leakage, you said that in AC thing, no, you should not put off this because
Yes, sir.
stabilizers get it.
Some of the voltage stabilizers, when suppose for what is being manufactured for say our fridge and all, they manufacture it so that it is continuously able to be on and take the load. It is manufactured to say, different standards, whereas the air conditioner stabilizer, it is not manufactured like that. Personally, I have come across. I have put up, my colleagues put out a fire in our own office. In the conference room, they just left the AC main on, but in the remote, they switched off all the ACs and went away. But ultimately, this caught fire. This has also happened elsewhere. That's why we have to see for the intended purpose. Some of them will be, particularly our fridge, I know it is of different standard. The stabilizer will stand. Even in case of TV, it's okay. But TV, we will not be using 24 hours. So,
regarding the AC, what you said is a very good point, sir. Sairam.
Yes, sir. Yes, Sairam.
Regarding the AC, what the direction you have given, no, is a very good point. Thank you so much. And Sairam.
Then I'll go to next point, sir. So now we will come to LPG gas fire, sir. Precautions to be exercised while using cooking gas. Before we go to the accident, first ventilate well your kitchen. Have so many windows and ventilators to the extent possible in your kitchen. This will save any untoward from happening in the house. And you may ask, suppose you are having a big family or having a small, catering also attached to your house. Suppose you are having more than 2 or 3, LPG cylinders, in which case, whatever you are using directly, it can be inside the kitchen, but rest of the stock of items should be transferred outside the kitchen, sir. It should not be part of the kitchen. It can be in a adjunct place, and that adjunct can be fully ventilated, so that in case of any leakage, the air will mix with the LPG gas, and it will not lead to it will not lead to fire. And another good habit to make is, and in your house also, if you are very keen to have some sort of ventilator purposely for the purpose of cylinder, the cylinder, those ventilators should not be at the higher level, because LPG is heavier than the atmospheric air. So the leaked gas will first be settling down and then it will be rising up. Because in some of the fire classes, this is being asked. So if you are having a good ventilation at the lower level, particularly when you are having more than one cylinder and all, try to have that at the ground level. Probably to avoid rats and all, you may have no proper mesh or net and all provided for that. That part you please take, that also you take care. But have the ventilation at down level, so that in case of any leakage, it will dissipate and go away. And make a good habit to turn off the cylinder whenever it is not in use, particularly at night. Why particularly at night? Night time we are not using the gas at least for say 8 hours, 10 hours or 12 hours. Even if there is a minor leakage, there will be a sufficient accumulation of gas near the hot plate or stove. So in the morning when we try to use it, or even before that when we are switch on the light or switch off something there, immediately there may be an accident. There may be a blast or fire. So kindly make this, drill it into a habit. Particularly those of you who are attending this class today, you make it a habit. Daily you do a security audit before you go to bed. See whether all your entrances are properly bolted and locked. Bolted or locked, whatever be the procedure. If there is an exit, whether the same is being done. Whether all unnecessary points are switched off. Your gas is closed properly. And all the knobs are closed. Sometimes, particularly when you are changing the empty cylinder, you would have opened a knob and tried to lit the fire would have gone out, they will forget to close the knob. So in the night time, you just check all these things, make it, drill it into a habit. Next is always keep the stove at a level above the cylinder. You will see that in the functions and all, they will be cooking with the cylinder on one side and the stove next to it and all. It is not advisable to do that. Do not expose cylinder to direct heat, fire or sunlight. This is also important because this is to prevent the heating of cylinder. Why? Because in case of fire also normally the cylinder blast doesn't happen. Only when the body is heated, then only it leads to bursting of cylinder, that too after some threshold of point. There are a lot of inbuilt mechanisms in the cylinder. But you kindly keep this in mind that direct exposure to heat should be avoided. As far as possible, keep away cloth and combustible material. In the cooking area, don't clutter the area. Please keep avoidable things. Keep it away from the cooking place. Replace LPG hose after expiry date. See, it will be having expiry date of 2 or 3 years. Please do change it, because very often the rubber tube develops a crack after say 3 or 4 years. And through that small crack, the gas will be escaping even when we are cooking. When we are cooking, the flames will be there in the burners. After some time, the slowly leaked gas will come and suddenly you will feel the hose pipe catching fire. Suppose we are not present in the place, in the cooking place. Suppose we equip the cooker and as usual we went for multitasking, say we are attending to a phone, or we are taking bath or something like that. If the leakage takes place and the fire takes place there, and after some time the rubber hose may get cut because of the continuous burning, which may lead to serious consequences, which may lead to the hose pipe directing the flame onto the body of the cylinder because it is cut. Then promptly attend to repairs of hot plate. If there is any rust in the hot plate, if you feel that there is some smell is coming in the hot plate, please do change it or attend to it. Don't clutter. I mean, that I already covered. if you suspect gas leakage, what we have to do? Never switch off or switch on switches. Some people think that we would switch off the fan or light to avoid any fire accident. Please don't do either off or on the switches. In either of the actions, when you switch on or switch off any switch, inside the switch, the sparking takes place. That sparking may lead to a fire in the kitchen. So don't do that. Turn off the cylinder and then open all the doors and windows. The leakage we can examine the cause of leakage, reason for leakage thereafter. If you find there is a smell coming there, and you all know that this original LPG gas is not having any smell, this smell is intentionally added for the safety, so that people will know gas has leaked. That is the thing. So you turn off the cylinder, open all doors and windows. Then if fire breaks out from gas pipe or under the stove, see, this is a fire happening. It has come out of the gas has come out of the regulator. Somewhere in the pipe there is a crack. There may be a fire, or the pipe is this rubber hose is leading to a metallic pipe underneath your stove. Suppose it developed some crack somewhere or something like that, then also fire may come under the stove. In which case, first thing is don't panic. Close the regulator. If you fear, you cover your hand with a towel or something and quickly close it. Even if there is a fire near the regulator, it will not cause any harm to you if it is done within few seconds. Nothing will happen even if there is a fire, unless the body of the cylinder is heated for a long time, not for 2 minutes, 5 minutes like that. Remove all inflammables nearby. Suppose you are having a cooking oil, you are having a kadai filled with oil, just remove it. All inflammable items, whatever you have kept nearby, remove it. Some cloth is there, which you use for cooking and all, remove all that first in case of fire. And as I said, if the hose is cut, that is the worst scenario, because it is coming in pressure. The hose may also start going left and right. And when the motion takes place, it may heat up the nearby things. Suppose some cloth which is laying nearby, or this cut hose may suddenly fall down. Normally it will be going up to the top. Suppose it is cut, it is falling down. There is a carpet there. The carpet may catch fire. So what to do is, we have to pin and also the flame should not go to the body of the cylinder. Even if it is going to some other, say, carpet, it's all right. You can put down the fire easily, but cylinder should not get heated up. So try to pin it down by some sort of some U-tape clip or something like that, or you are having that patakara, by which you hold the vessel. You try to hold the hose so that the body heat will not go on that, and then you can remove the cylinder. Once this hose is under your control, just drag the cylinder and then leave it in an open place. Even if it is an open balcony, it's all right. Until this flame is going away from the body of the cylinder, even suppose the entire hose is burnt, it is coming through the regulator, that mouth. Let it burn for 24 hours, there is no harm. There will not be a blast. You need not worry about it. Meanwhile, you can always call a fire person. He will come and douse it either with a wet gunny bag or something like that. Just he will put it on the nozzle from where the fire is coming and then tightly squeeze it, so that there should not be any escape of gas or fire. And another interesting is, when the gas is coming out, LPG is stored in a liquid form inside. When it comes out, to get it to convert it to gas, it takes a while. So the first 1 inch or so from the point where it is coming out, it will be in a liquid form. It will not be in fire. It will be in a cold liquid form. It is coming out. So that's how, when we apply a rug or something like that and tightly close the mouth of the cylinder, the fire is put out. You might have seen so many cylinder demos and all. We also used to do the demo, but that demonstration is having very, very limited applicability, because in your house, the cylinder will be kept underneath your cooking area, where you cannot put your gunny bag or blanket, wet blanket, and then cover it and close it. Because what will happen, if you are able to do it, just to pull it outside the place where you can freely surround it with a thick, not a thin one, a thick wet towel or bed sheet, fully cover it and immediately close it. If you leave any gap, through the gap again air will go and the fire will again come, and it will be more panicky. If you are well trained, you can use that thick towel and bed sheet and try to choke the fire vent and smother it. If you are not knowing it, please don't attempt it. Call a fire people and wait for it. And another thing is, if you are having a water point nearby, you can direct a water jet on the body of the cylinder, so that any heating also will not cause the cylinder to get heated. Only when the cylinder is going on heated, depending upon the degree of heat, nowhere they have given at what degree it will blast, but they say the cylinder, the gas inside is kept so cold, even 100-degree heat is coming on it, it will take quite some time for the gas to expand and then blast. And if at all any blast takes place, it may lead to the collapse of the entire building also. I have seen in Tirumala one such this thing taking place. So the blast is the worst thing that it can happen. But before that, we have to take all these measures. And because we have fire people everywhere, I think in a reasonable time of say 20 minutes or half an hour, we may get some aid. Or if you are already trained in it, you can get trained and close it. It is not a very tough thing to do it. Only thing is, partial knowledge will not be of help. You have to have the comprehensive knowledge to close it. Now I'll just and another thing is, for any of these oil fires, we should not be throwing water on it. You should not use water, because what happens when we use water, it actually spreads. One thing is, density of water is more than that of majority of this petrol and kerosene and other oils. As a net vessel, the water displaces and oil comes up. When it comes up, it spills over. When it is spilling over, it is going to spread the fire further. Similarly, even if you splash it, when the water is splashed on oil surface, it spreads in all the directions and the fire may go. And connected to this LPG fire is normally, when we are making that mustard and other things, when we will be in a small vessel, we will be normally frying it. That adding masala to whatever the dish we are making, pappu or sambar or rasam, very often, because it is a small vessel and oil is less and the burner will be a little bigger, it catches fire. Normally, all the household ladies, and they know how to stop it. Immediately, they will be putting a plate on it. Once a plate is fully covering the surface of the vessel, whether it's a small pan or something like that, the fire will be put out, because that is deprived of oxygen. Air is not going. The exception will be, and normally, suppose such oil pan catches fire, suppose you are making some vada or something like that, the oil got reduced or the flame is big, and suddenly the overheated oil catches fire. You will see the flame going up to 2 feet, 3 feet like that. If there is a loose electrical wiring above the stove, it should not be the case, but more often we find it. Then it may lead to short circuit, it will catch fire. How to stop such a fire? If you are having any thick towel, blanket, bed sheet, carpet, take it steadily, don't panic it. Just cover it over the pan and then press the circumference of the pan, so that the frying pan or something like that, kadai, once the cloth is fully covering it, particularly where it is having a handle, if you are not putting a cloth, if you are putting something rigid like a plywood, it will not be able to cover and the air will go through the handle side and then the fire will increase. So that is the way a towel will be better option. It will go spread and then it will cover the entire surface of the oil and fire and then it will douse it. I'll just show a small demo of, now what you are seeing is a demo conducted in a police training college. You will see that how the fire is being put out even with a newspaper. You may be wondering why newspaper. This is an extreme example we are showing. Normally we use only cloth. 1 minute.
చూడండి ఏ డైరెక్షన్ లో ఉందో చూసుకొని దానికి ఆపోజిట్ డైరెక్షన్ లో మనం ఉండాలి. ఇన్ కేసు మన ఇంట్లో మనం ఎక్కడో అపార్ట్మెంట్ లో ఉన్నాం, అర్త్క్వేక్ వచ్చింది. అర్త్క్వేక్ వచ్చినప్పుడు ఏమైతుంది, ఇంట్లో ఉన్న సామాన్ అంతా షేక్ అవుతుంది.
So now you have seen it, even with the newspaper, because the flame is put out instantly by cutting oxygen to the surface of the burning oil. If more oil is there, then it may take more time. Worse than that, the situation is the vessel is very, very deep, like a bucket if it is there, and more oxygen is inside. It may take few more seconds to cut the power supply because it has to exhaust whatever air or oxygen which is available inside that. And you might have noticed, first thing he is telling is, don't try to douse it from the direction in which the fire is coming. Suppose when you are cooking, it is blowing from east to west. Suppose you are in an open place, something is being cooked, it catches fire like this. The air is blowing towards west, then you go to the east side. From the east side, you try to close it. If you try to, and number two is, from your side, you should gradually close it to the opposite side. If you try to do the reverse, say from opposite side to your side, if you close it, when you are closing it, the little flame will come out to your body also. If you are wearing anything, nylon dress, a nylon saree or a shirt or something like that, it may catch fire. So that is the way. If you want, I'll just play it once more. You can notice it and see how carefully they are covering it again.
చూడండి ఏ డైరెక్షన్ లో ఉందో చూసుకొని దానికి ఆపోజిట్ డైరెక్షన్ లో మనం ఉండాలి.
The smoke is going towards left. He is putting it from right. See, from his side, he put the paper to the opposite side. Okay. Now we have seen fire. Now we'll see something on firefighting. Quickly, we will see the chemistry of fire. Fire is a phenomenon in which a combustible material, which may be a fuel also, is ignited in combination with oxygen and heat. So, for a fire to happen, three things are essential. And when fire happens, what is the net result? You find flame coming out, light coming out, heat coming out, sometimes smoke also. This is the effect of fire. So three things which is essential for causing fire is combustible material, say fuel. It can be anything. It can be kerosene, it can be wood, it can be paper, it can be cloth. Which is capable of burning is combustible material. And then air, which is having oxygen. It can be of any material which is capable of oxidizing, which is capable of giving air. It can be in the form of air, it can be in the form of some other solid also, in which oxygen is contained. Number three is heat. And what is the heat? It is not the normal heat. For every combustible substance and the combination of air, oxidation takes place. At a particular point, a threshold limit is there in which the fire is caused. Suppose, for example, I'll tell you, kerosene is there, you just keep it in a small bowl. You put a matchstick into it, it will not fire. You put a small paper ball into it, it will catch fire after some time. The surface will get it will fire. Diesel also, it will little lesser time. But if it is in case of petrol, when you are taking the matchstick, burning matchstick even nearby, it will catch fire. That is why when you are doing any experiment also, always the fire is added to the petrol from the side, not from the top, because the petrol vapor will be going up. Even 1 foot above the petrol, if you take the flame, sometimes your hand may be affected by fire. So the threshold heat, the required heat for causing fire. So three things are required. If you put it in a say fire triangle, oxygen on one side, heat on another, and fuel on third side. This is the fire triangle which is normally discussed. And one more, the fourth dimension which is also involved here is a chemical reaction, which can be called as, it's not a triangle anymore, now it has become a pyramid. In the for all the three, when it comes together also, the sustainable heat should be there. Suppose the oxygen is used up, immediately the fire will not be there. It may catch fire, it will go off. So the chemical reaction to continuously take place, the continuous heat should be, the continuous oxygen should be available, fuel should be available. So the chemical reaction is also important. So all the four factors are important. The fire triangle is called as fire tetrahedron. Tetrahedron, just some of you may be college students and all, you may come across what is a tetrahedron. Tetrahedron is simply oxygen, heat, fuel, and chain reaction, all the four combining, causing fire. In olden days, it used to be a fire triangle, now it is tetrahedron. So this is the about fire chemistry. And I told you that flash point differs for different materials. For petrol, it is little lesser. For wet articles, it may be little more. So like that, it differs. For oils and all, it will be little more. And what is firefighting? I told three things are required for fire: fuel, heat, and air. Firefighting is nothing but removing any one of the three. That's all. When fuel is removed, then it is called starvation. Starvation method of fighting fire. That is, for want of fuel, for nothing to eat, the fire will die down. So we are starving the fire by removing the fuel. The fuel can be removed either by cutting off the pipe which is supplying oil to the place where there is fire, or suppose some cloth bundle is on fire, just remove the other cloth which is not burning away, it can be there. Suppose it is a slum area or a hamlet where there is a row of houses are there, roofed houses are there, huts are there. One house, if there is a fire in some stack which is haystack which is available on the top of the hut. It will be covered with palmyra leaves or such this thing. Once it is broken down and when it is coming to the ground, fire when it is coming at the lower level, it will not spread faster because there are a lot of impediments, walls and other things will be blocking the free flow of air. So there are so many ways of starvation. So the first removing fuel is called starvation method. Then removing heat is called the cooling method. You simply what you do is, you see some paper is burning. What you do, you throw water. What happens? The paper which is burning is getting cooled when you throw water. So cooling method. Then the other method is by removing the air or oxygen. It is called smothering or blanketing method.
Sairam sir, your voice is not audible.
Difference in degree, but in principle it is same. So you have to keep these three terminology in your mind. Then classes of fire. In India, fire is classified into 4 types. See, normally what in the household fire and all, what you come across? You come across wood, paper, cloth, other wooden furniture items. No, those of these items, no, after burning, ultimately when it becomes ash or carbon, it is called the A-class fire or carbonaceous fire, they call it. So all fires involving solids where the residue after fire is ash or such black soot, it is A-class fire. B-class fire is all fire involving oils. It can be a petrol, it can be diesel, it can be kerosene, it can be cooking oil, it can be a oil-based paint. It can be a oil-based paint. It's a oil fire or simple B. C class is all gases. It can be LPG, LNG, CNG. And they also know, because what is used for this LPG, CNG fire, the same fire extinguisher is also used for electrical fire also. So some people try to classify electrical fire. Now there is no separate class for electrical fire. After switching off power supply to the electrical appliance, whatever intrinsic value of the item which is left there, if it is a PVC, if it is a PVC, a metal inside, it's metal. So it comes under the respective classification. There is no separate electrical fire nowadays available. I'll come to the extinguisher which is ideal for electrical fire. Why I am telling is, this is the beauty of Indian standards classification. But what is happening, and so C class fire is all gas fires, we can take it. D class fire is a little rare fire which is applicable mostly in industrial settings. In factories where they manufacture or handle chemicals like potassium, aluminum, zinc, and our Deepavali cracker, and those of these items, it is coming under metallic fire. And for metallic fire, the fire extinguisher is also a special type, which will differ from metal to metal. For aluminum, it will be separate, for zinc is separate. And these extinguishers will be provided in the place where it is handled or manufactured. So we can virtually forget D class fire. What we have to know is, it is a basically metallic fire. I think I am clear. Anybody is having any doubt on this? A, B, C, D. Okay, I'll go to the next. Why I am telling you, please remember this A, B, C, D. Tomorrow, if you are in a petrol bunk, there is a small fire and there is a fire extinguisher there. If you want to use first you should know what is the fire there. Somebody might have thrown a cigarette butt in some corner, some oil drug there would have caught fire. It's not oil fire, it is still only a ordinary A-class fire. So you can throw water and control it. Suppose in some other place, a small kerosene bunk, a tray or a bucket which is having some oil catches fire, or a cooking oil catches fire, it is a B-class fire. For B-class fire, you should never use water. I'll come to the do's and don'ts of it. So you kindly remember this A, B, C, D so that you can be a good firefighter. So A-class fire involves solid materials. It is easy to douse by putting water. B-class fire involves flammable liquids. C-class involving gases. D, industrial fires. I told metallic fires. These are the common fire extinguishers. Now I'll try to show you some fire extinguishers also. Can you observe in this? I am showing this. See this. The last right one is having A, B. This simply means this extinguisher is fit for fighting A and B class fire. See the next one, last but one from the right side. It is having B and C. That means that extinguisher can be used on B class fire and C class fire. Next also B and C, next B and C. This one is actually it is turned. That can also be used on B and C class fire. How to differentiate fire extinguishers? We will come to that now. See, the basic fire. Now I'll also show you some fire extinguishers here. Water CO2 extinguisher. First, I'll do the explanation. I'll go to it. Why it is called water CO2 extinguisher? The extinguishing medium, that is, what is coming out of the extinguisher and dousing the fire, is nothing but water. But the water to come out, something is required inside to push it out. To push the water out of the extinguisher, all of a sudden, it will not come. So the agent which is push it out is nothing but a carbon dioxide, small cartridge which is kept out inside. I'll be showing it to you also. So this extinguisher is ideal for use for all A-class fire. And what is very important about this extinguisher is this should not be used on oil fire. I already told you, pouring water on oil will make it to float and spread, and it will also splash it if it is used with force. So this should not be used on oil fire. And one more, this thing is, this water extinguisher should not also be used on live electrical fittings. Actually, when I put the photo, it has gone. It should not be used on live electrical installations. Suppose a switchboard is on fire, where there is power supply is there, or some other thing is on fire which is having power supply. This should never be used. If you use it, the water jet which is going from the extinguisher, which is being held in our hand, when it contacts the electrical power supply source, the power supply will come onto our body, will be electrocuted. The contents and regarding minor spare parts of the extinguisher, when I show the extinguisher, I will be showing you. This is a very small demo of where the water, how it is spreading the fire. I'll just show you 2 seconds. Here, set fire. See, he poured water on the oil fire. So immediately it spilled and came out. Luckily, there is no inflammable item there. Otherwise, some paper is there, it will catch fire and further it will spread. Very simple as that. Then the next one is foam extinguisher. In this foam extinguisher, what happens? When we use it, what comes out is a foam or lather. What is the effect of lather? This is used for B-class fire, A and B-class fire, because it is also having some cooling effect. And B-class fire, because suppose oil is stored in a container, it is kept in a drum or a tray or something like that. Suppose it catches fire. When we are using a foam, what we have to do is, this foam should not go and hit it. As far as possible, it should not be used in close quarters, because it also comes out with a little force. When it is coming with little force, it may splash again. And if it is indirectly directed, suppose it is hitting something and falling on the burning surface, this foam will form a layer of lather or foam on the burning surface. Once the lather is spread and fully covered, it will stop the air supply to the oil. So the fire will immediately put out. We will also be showing all this thing in a video. This thing, what we have to use here, remember, is this should be useful for A and B class fires. Again, this should not be used for live electrical fires. So don't use it on electrical fires. In close quarters, we may get short circuit. Next one is CO2 extinguisher, carbon dioxide extinguisher. Here, in the foam extinguisher also, what is coming out is foam. The extinguishing medium is foam. But which is pushing it out from inside is normally a carbon dioxide cartridge. In some other bigger systems and all, something is also being used. Let us not go into all that, because unless you see the device yourself, you cannot understand things. Next, CO2 extinguisher. This is nothing but when you operate it, carbon dioxide comes out. Carbon dioxide is, it will displace the oxygen. Where there is fire, if CO2 is spreading, it will cut the oxygen supply and kill the fire. This is very ideal for B and C class fires. And because carbon dioxide is a gas, there is no issue of connectivity, conductivity and all in this. This is also best for electrical fire. That too in a computer environment. There are other extinguishers like dry powders, which is also used for electrical fire of, say, generators, electrical mains and all. Dry powder can be used. But in a computer environment, suppose there are 10 computers are there. One is catching a small short circuit. If you use a dry chemical powder, what will happen? When you use it, the powder comes out and spread through the entire room. It will be like, freely putting costumic the powder on the faces. It will spread like anything. That powder may spoil the computer. So carbon dioxide, on the other hand, doesn't have that collateral damage. It will not cause other damage. So it is effective for electrical fire. So that's why nowadays you have everywhere you see a CO2 extinguisher is kept. It is less effective for A class fires. You will see they say don't use it on A class fire because carbon dioxide, it is not having a cooling effect and it also spread in the air. And the limitation of this carbon dioxide extinguisher is if you are using it in open air, suppose there is a generator fire, you take it in the open ground, use it beyond 2-3 feet, the CO2 will not be effective because atmospheric air will be coming and it will be flowing and it will wiping away the CO2 also along with it. In a closed area, it is very effective. And also what we have to remember is if you are in a closed room, like a strong room or a computer server room, which is not ventilated, after using carbon dioxide CO2 extinguisher, you have to come out. Otherwise, carbon dioxide, negative effect will be there on you. You will be start choking for want of oxygen. And the good thing with the carbon dioxide is normally when you release it, you can also immediately close it. I'll be showing that mechanism later. And dry chemical powder extinguisher. In this there are two types. There are which is dry powder is the extinguishing medium, and what throwing out the powder out is as usual is a CO2 cartridge inside that will when you operate it. When you operate the plunger, it will open up the carbon dioxide. When it expands inside, it will throw the powder out. So in DCP extinguisher, the extinguishing medium is dry chemical powder. And there are BC type extinguisher and ABC type. What is this BC type? That which can handle B and C class fire type is a BC type. For that, sodium bicarbonate powder used to be used traditionally. Nowadays, monoammonium phosphate powder is used, which is capable of tackling even a class fire also. It may be little less effective, but it is fit for A class, B class, and C class fires. So this is one of the ideal fire extinguishers for having in our house also. ABC type and carbon dioxide type, CO2 both. Even in our mandir and all nowadays more you will find ABC type because electrical fire you can use it. Suppose there is some kitchen oil fire is there, you can use it. You can also use it for A class fires. So it is because of the multiple purpose it serves, it is ideal. And next point is it is used best for generator fires. You may ask me, sir, generator fire is oil fire. Why for oil fire dry powder is more useful? If you see the construction of the generator, most of the generator will be having a enclosure also outside. Inside it will be having really odd shapes, and the oil, the petrol or diesel which is used, it will be inside a container which will be having a small mouth. It will also be closed. The fire will be happening due to static electricity because of the V-belt running continuously, or some wheel moving around, or minor leakages in the fuel line. When such fire happens, using a foam will not be effective because fire, it will not go and float and cover and kill the fire, smother the fire. Whereas when you use a dry chemical powder by its very nature, fine powder, it penetrates into the all odd surfaces of a generator. It not only that if oil is leaking, it will go and sit there and absorb the oil. Thereby, it is very useful for generator fire. And for D class, I already told there are specialized extinguishers for that. And before using general fire extinguishers, some general precautions I want to tell you. Suppose you are as a first aider, first responder, you are trying to use a fire extinguisher, just check once whether it is having a rust or crack. If it is rusted or cracked, please no, don't use it. If it is a pre-pressurized one, it's okay. But if it is a conventional one where it is having a CO2 cartridge inside, and if you operate it when it is expanding, the outer body of the extinguisher may burst. At least 2 cases I have come across where the person who operated it died. So never use a cracked or rusted fire extinguisher. It may be cause harm to the person who is operating. And next point is, all the extinguishers will be having a nozzle or hose or horn. Basically, that is a hole through which either the water or the powder or the CO2 gas will be coming out. You just see whether it is clogged. Suppose there may be a nest of the wasp, maybe there some insect might have put this thing. Just to put a stick on it, you clear it, it will be over. Next thing is, shake the content. Particularly you are in Goa. In Goa, what will happen, because it is a coastal area, dry chemical powder extinguishers, they tend to cake up. Because of the moisture in there, it will tend to cake up. So before using the extinguisher, just to shake it once, so that the powder inside, any caking up inside will get loosened. So that when you use it uninterrupted, the powder will come and the purpose will be solved. And when operating any extinguisher, don't keep your head very close. Suppose it is not coming out, just to discard it in a distance. You try to operate it, and don't try to operate, don't take your head closely, because as I said, if pressure is building up, so there is something is choked there. One point is, if the CO2 gas has leaked, nothing will happen. But otherwise, if it is pressure is building up, there is some blockage somewhere, that is only will happen. Don't think that all fire extinguishers will be having this problem. This happens only in case where extinguisher is not maintained at all. It is rusted. It is there lying for years together in some dump yard or in godown. Such places only there is a danger of bursting. So don't take your head close and then operate it. Just gently keep it arm's distance and operate it. And how to operate? Basically, all the extinguishers, it may have a small seal. Why? See, you are seeing in a photo, a person is holding the skis grip. There is a ring there. On the ring, normally they will put a plastic seal or a lead seal. This is only to show whether it is operated or not. More often what happens, somebody will be cleaning it daily. Some sweeper, one fine morning, without knowing, he would have pulled out the clip or pressed something, and the entire carbon dioxide, say example, like carbon dioxide is discharged. I have seen this happening in our ATM. The ATM guard, night time, will not be having any work. After seeing enough of his cell phone, he will just tamper with the CO2 gas cylinder there. Gas will escape. He will quietly close the valve and keep it there intact. And another day, if there is a fire, he will try to use it, you will find there is no gas inside. This is safety seal is only to show that it is used or not used, whether it is intact or tampered. Then, yes, sir. Anything, sir? Shall I go ahead? Shall I go faster?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So first, we have to take the extinguisher to the as close as possible, and then aim at the base of the fire, because there the fuel will be there. You have to aim at the base, and then squeeze the handle. When you squeeze the handle, or sometimes in the olden type, which prior to 2010, once you press the plunger, it will come out. The entire content will be coming out. So once you operate it, that squeezing takes place. And third is, when the water jet or whatever dry chemical powder which is coming out, just don't point it out in the same place. Suppose the a pillow is on fire. You move it left to right so that the entire pillow is covered. Suppose a bed is on fire. The entire area which is in fire, bottom of it is I'll go to a fire video. I think before that, yeah, we are coming to a close. Now we will be seeing a fire video. What all is covered now is also be again guided. This is going for about 10 minutes.
Fire is a friend to mankind.
So are you
as
getting
long
it?
as it stays within its confines.
Sairam?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it turns hostile. There are 3 stages of fire: incipient stage, critical stage, uncontrollable stage. If fire is extinguished at its incipient stage, major loss of property, valuable things. If fire is extinguished at its incipient stage, major loss of property, valuable things, and most importantly, human lives can be averted. It is at this stage that you can use fire extinguishers to combat fires efficiently. It takes just a few seconds for the fire to spread from the incipient stage to the critical stage. At this stage, you require sophisticated firefighting equipments like sprinkler systems and fire hydrant for the fire brigade to reach the site of destruction, and by this time, everything is lost. It is an easy task to vanquish fire, only if one uses the right measures to do it, and one of the safest measures is SAFEX. Fire is a chemical reaction called combustion. It is a combination of fuel, oxygen, and heat. If that is, solid fire is fire on wood, leaves, cotton and textile, paper, carbonous materials, etc. These fires are classified as Class A fires. Class B liquid fires involve flammable liquids, petroleum products, paints, chemicals, gasoline, solvents. Fire can be extinguished by applying some basic formulae. They are starvation, blanketing, and cooling. The materials surrounding the fire act as a fuel for spreading the fire. In starvation, these materials are removed from the seat of the fire. By doing so, fire is made to starve without supply of fuel and subsequently gets extinguished on its own. The blanketing or smothering effect will cut off the oxygen supply, thus extinguishing the fire. Blanketing can be done using the nearest available materials like blankets, corrugated box papers, etc. Another way of extinguishing fire is by removing heat from the fire that can be easily done by beating fire with water. This is called the cooling effect. If you are aware of the safety measure, dry chemical powder and CO2 gas are the important mediums widely used to extinguish fire that cuts out the oxygen supply and gives the blanketing effect. These important firefighting mediums are used in fire extinguishers to combat flaring fires. Let us now have a look at the different fire extinguishers that are used for different classes of fires. Fire extinguishers.
Sairam, now we will be, I'll be showing you the extinguishers. You can see it. See, this is an A-class fire extinguisher. I quickly go through it. See, as you can see, it is very clear it's a A-class. So this is the advantages of having a basic knowledge of fire. You know now what is A-class fire. this can be used for all paper, wood, fire, all the, fire, except fires it can be used. See, operation is very simple. See, mostly it will be having a safety clip like this. Can you see a clip which is just removed like this? You can put it back again, just remove it. What we have to do is basically bang it. When you bang it, immediately water jet will come from this. And then when you use it, I already told how to use it. We have to do like this. Left to right, fire at the base of the fire. Fire this water at the base of the fire. So this is called a plunger, this is called a nozzle, this is called a safety stick, this is the body. And what? And what is the action which is taking place inside is, inside there is a small gas cartridge like this, underneath the plunger, which is filled with the CO2. The moment you press like this, there is a nail which is there, sharp edge is there, which goes and makes a puncture inside. Can you see this is a new one which is not punctured. So once this is punctured, the gas will come out of this, spread inside, and because it expands enormously, it will push the water out. It is having a siphon tube inside. When water is pressed like that, it races through the siphon tube, it comes out. This is a foam extinguisher. As you can see, it is mentioned AB, foam, chemical foam extinguisher. There are two types, mechanical foam and chemical foam. So in this, it is a similar mechanism. Here also you have a safety clip, and then you have a knob, a plunger. If you hit it, immediately foam will come through this. It can have a discharge nose. Some of them will not have a discharge hose, but it will have only a nozzle will be there. It can be either way. And bigger the extinguishers, these are all basically 9-liter ones. What I am showing. If you go for 25 liters, 30 liters, definitely it will be having hose. It will be having a longer hose also, so that the throw will be going for a longer distance. Coming to this, what I have already shown, water CO2, as well as this one, both of them throw water or foam to the extent of about 19 and a half feet. It throws the jet. So you can know how closely or how distance you can maintain and fight the fire. The construction is same as that of water. This is a B&C type dry powder. In the same extinguisher, we are nowadays filling ABC powder and putting a ABC label, because by simply changing the powder, we can cover 3 classes of fire. Mechanism is here. It is also having a clip here. It's having a plunger. It's also having a discharge hose to guide the powder, throw out the powder. It's also having same carbon dioxide cartridges inside there. Once you operate the plunger, powder comes out. And regarding all these 3 extinguishers, there may be minor changes in the construction of the body. If you take ceasefire extinguisher will be having a PVC cap. It will be having a pressing type button sort of thing. Normally, all the extinguisher is having the instruction printed on it, how to use it. Only thing is, some of the extinguishers nowadays having these alphabets A, B, C not boldly displayed, which is not correct. It has to be boldly displayed. And so there will be minor changes in the delivery hose. Instead of delivery hose, something will be having a horn sort of thing, funnel sort of thing. So this is a carbon dioxide extinguisher. Unfortunately, the label is gone because of frequent usage. We have to go and get it done again, because last 1.5 years we have not conducted any training. See, this is, if you see, the construction of this body is different from that of other extinguishers. The others will be having welding, whereas carbon dioxide will not have any welding in the body. It is a seamless cylinder where there is no welding, because CO2 is stored in the container in very high pressure. It will not have any welding. If you find any welding in the body, that extinguisher is a spurious one. It is recycled one. So operation is very simple. There we are having either a clip or pin like this. Here you are having a pin. Just take out the safety pin, open the valve. Actually, it is having carbon dioxide, filled carbon dioxide is there. So it will be like this. So normally we also in some places and we tell security people to tell them in case of any robbery or dacoity, you can try to scavenge just opening it on the face of the burglar or something like that. When we open it, because it is stored in very high pressure, the carbon dioxide comes with a click sound. Nothing to get scared. Actually, when it is coming, it will be very chill. That is why this discharge horn is having a PVC handle, so that when we hold it, we will not get any frostbite or damage due to cold. Okay, now I think because the time is up, I think we can go for question and answer session. Any doubt you kindly shoot, because we cannot spend more time on this.
Sairam everyone, if anyone has a question, so you can raise your hand. तो किसी को अगर कोई क्वेश्चन पूछना है तो आप अनम्यूट करके पूछ सकते हो या अपना हैंड रेज कर सकते हो. And if anyone wants to ask questions later on, like they can write it to us, and then we can pass, like send it
Sure,
to
sir.
So sir will surely answer and send back to you. So if any questions you all have, so you can reach out to our team. So we'll pass these questions to the sir, and sir will surely answer those questions.
I am extremely sorry because I could not prepare much because of the only 2 days time I could get for this.
Yes.
I tried to squeeze the maximum so that they'll be able to do something in case of any localized household accident or something like that.
Yes, sir. So sir, we'll close the session if no one has any questions.
You can start with Shanti Mandiram and close.
Yeah. So I request Brother Manjunath to take over.
And personally, I will thank the Satsai Seva Organization Goa and all the office bearers who are responsible for arranging this and for this giving a nice opportunity, and the entire audience for bearing with my long lecture without any break.
Manjunath, you are muted.
Manjunath, you are not audible.
Oh yes, unmuted.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Now I'm audible, brother.
Yes.
Yes, brother. Yes, brother.
Offering my humble pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Brothers and sisters, we were listening to R. Krishna Kumar sir on fire and electricity safety at home. Thank you very much, sir, for a very insightful session. We saw, in case of emergency, what steps we have to take so that we can minimize the effect of disaster, and we also understood safety precautions to be taken to avoid the disaster. Sir was kind enough to explain use of different types of fire extinguishers in case of fire at home. We all were listening to R. Krishna Kumar sir in the second session of Atirati in Apatti, a specially designed program by second batch participants of National Leadership Program for Self-Transformation 2021. We are looking forward to meet you all for the coming session that will be on coming Tuesday, that is 28 September 2021. Jai Sai Ram. Now I request Brother Dharmaram Reddy to play a Shanti Mantra. Sai Ram.
भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु शांति शांति शांति। जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय।
Sai Ram to all.